Good morning and welcome to another MrMaple video. I'm Matt and today we're going to be talking about the 10 at 10.
Hey, I'm Tim. We greatly appreciate you watching this video. Today we're talking about 10 of the 20 trees getting listed today. So if you want to sign up to our weekly emails on MrMaple.com, you can find out for the full listing of 20 of those trees. Those trees will be listed at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today on Tuesday.
So you probably, if you follow our videos, know what the 10 at 10 is, but for anybody new, we put at least 10 new plants on our website every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. And so it's something we're always doing. We've actually increased that to almost 20 every single time, like Tim was saying. We're going to talk about 10 of those here today. Now this 10 at 10 is for April 12th of 2022. So these sizes are indicative of this time frame. If you're watching it a year from now, our sizes may be slightly smaller or slightly larger, but that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, and these Japanese maples, we've got a great assortment. We try to always put a good collection together for our 10 at 10 videos. And I think this week's 10 at 10 really has a really good collection of maples.
Yeah, we went with a lot of maples this week. You guys have been shopping a lot on MrMaple and you've been buying out a lot of things, so things have been disappearing. So you've been seeing some magic drops this week. We've had a Magic Monday, we threw in a Magic Wednesday, and somebody said, is there a Magic Thursday? And I said, every day's magic here at MrMaple. So we've been adding stuff a lot this spring just because you guys have been shopping so much with us, and we greatly appreciate your patronage. And things have been selling out, so when we see that number get down, we'll start increasing it. So this Tuesday, we're going to be very maple centric. So get ready for a lot of new maples. Again, this is just 10 of them, but we're getting a lot of maples back on the website.
So we're going to start out down here with one of our favorite red variegated types. This is one called Rainbow. Rainbow is a selection from Talon Buchholz. I'll let Matt hold that up there too so you can sort of see that the size on that.
These are just starting to leaf too. They'll get a little thicker as they get more in leaf.
Yeah, so all of our rainbows that we're selling have good variegation to them. If you see a lot of branches on these that have full red, you know, you won't find them on these, but if you see them later in the future, prune those out in the early spring. This is one of those types that's one of the most beautiful red on pink variegated. That dark red with that bright pink variegation stands out so well on rainbow. But it's one of those plants that you want to make sure you prune out any reversions. Yeah. Because this one doesn't go back. So if you start to see it get reverted, make sure you prune on that. You know,
a super striking tree. We actually have a video just on this one, so you can check that out as well. But Rainbow is one that's always talked about for that pink on red. It's going to leaf out with some even whites mixed in there. You know, we actually do the work for you here. So these are going to show up looking excellently variegated. So you can rest assured if you purchase a Rainbow from MrMaple, you're not just going to get one little pink leaf. You're actually going to get a very thoroughly variegated plant. That's something we do in the whole process of growing, but an excellent plant. One I definitely wouldn't wait on. You hear us say this a few times. They do tend to sell out pretty quickly on Tuesdays. So be ready for that one when it hits, if that's one you're interested in.
And this one is one of the most variegated types with that dark on bright pink. It's just one of those plants that really is a showstopper in the garden. And it's one that you'll love photographing. Our employees love it quite a bit. So better get it before they realize it's on the 10 at 10 or they'll all walk home with it at the nursery.
Hey, next up we've got Sister Ghost. This is one of the fabled Ghost series. We didn't do a whole video now that we're in leaf just on the Ghost series. It's one that's always so well talked about. Check out our videos on the new Ghost. We kind of talk about some newer ones that don't have Ghost in the title. But an excellent plant. Sister Ghost is one with a heavily divided reticulated leaf. What I think sets it apart is that heavily divided lobes to it. So each lobe is just really intricate. And it makes a great place for that variegation. Each leaf is going to have that intricate veining to it.
Yeah, the serrated edging on this really adds a lot to that Ghost type reticulation. And this one goes to bright yellows to oranges in the fall. This is one from Talon Buchholz from the Buchholz series. Just like Rainbow was one of his introductions. And I think we've got Red Dawn later and Japanese Princess we're talking about.
There's a few on there today, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of his introductions coming down the pipeline today on today's 10 at 10.
So next up, we've actually got one of our introductions, or one of the introductions we put a name on. So this is actually a tree that was developed by Yano-san at World Maple Park, and it had a working name on it, and Yano asked us to put a real cultivar name on it before we released it. And since we already had the Hot Blonde, which many of you may know has been a super popular tree for us, we do a Heat Seeker series. So in our Heat Seeker series, we basically are putting out plants that are in that ACER OLIVERIANUM X PALMATUM series. So those trees have even more high heat qualities to them, and Hot Sauce is one of the best ones of those. This is our ACER OLIVERIANUM X PALMATUM with that bright red foliage. So this is going to be one of the most heat tolerant versions of an upright red. So you're going to get everything you like about, you know, an upright red, but with just a little bit more durability. To most people, it's just going to look like a Japanese maple.
Yeah, like Matt was talking about, the original code names on this was Nakahara Beni A. Hot Tamale was Nakahara Beni B. And
yeah, I don't even think this one had made it to America before us, though.
No. And because it only had code names on it, when we contacted Yano, he said, you know, I haven't really ever put a name on it, and asked if we wanted to put a name on it. We said, "Does hot sauce and hot tamale work?" And he said, "Yeah, that works great." So we were honored that we could put a name on one of Yano's, a tree that he'd found in Japan, off an ACER Oliverianum there at World Maple Park.
And they make great pairings with that hot blonde. You've seen our golden yellow version of this. ACER Oliverianum is a great plant for the Deep South. It's actually a Chinese maple. We're getting some, hybridization with the Japanese maple here, so you're getting the qualities you love about a Japanese maple, but in one of the most heat-tolerant packages. Again, we're calling this the Heat Seeker series. We actually have some future additions to the series as well. Don't miss out on hot sauce, though. It sells out quickly. It's one you're definitely going to love. It's a great tree for sun exposures. It's a very, very heat-tolerant tree that'll do exceptionally well even in zone 8 full sun, high heat exposures. This is one of the best trees to get, and a fast grower too.
Yeah. So if you're looking for that Oliverianum type with some red color, this is an excellent choice for you, the hot sauce. Part of that Heat Seeker series, I think they're super, super popular.
Yeah, we've got a few in there now. There's hot sauce, there's hot tamale, of course there's hot blonde. Taking some pictures this week of a seedling we actually collected at World Maple Park with like Hagoromo style foliage. Yeah. We've been playing around with the name Hot Wings, but there's already a Hot Wing, so let us know. Maybe we'll throw a photo up of a poll and see what people want to name that one. But we've got some more things to come in that series, even a Bihu type of a Formosanum, ACER Oliverianum subspecies Formosanum. So some really cool things in that Heat Seeker series.
Yeah, for sure. So where we talked about a plant that that's a super heat tolerant, can handle the sun. This one you want to give some protection from the hot afternoon sun. This is ACER SHIRASAWANUM Autumn Moon. This one gives some amazing colors for new growth that just keeps popping across with that pink color on that full moon.
If you can get this one some early morning sun in the spring, it'll get neon orange for you. So it can handle a little bit of morning sun, but I definitely recommend late day shade. You're probably familiar with Autumn Moon if you're a Japanese maple lover. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's one that got real popular in the South through Dr. Durr. He wrote about it in one of his books, and then everybody started asking us for it. And this is a plant I like to grow in a container and basically find its happy place out there in the yard before we actually plant it. And it's one of those plants that keeps giving you different colors throughout the season.
They're fairly slow growing, so they do work great in a pot too. I mean, it's a great way to grow it. But an excellent tree. Everybody loves that full moon style foliage. It's a larger, rounder leaf on the full moons. And Autumn Moon is just super colorful. It's one you're definitely going to want to have in your landscape if you don't already.
And so next up, we've got the return of the lion's head, the SHISHIGASHIRA. Yeah. This is the classic Japanese maple from the 1700s. The name SHISHIGASHIRA translates essentially as female lion, a specific character from Japanese literature. And so it's not really directly saying lion's head, but that's essentially what it's trying to go at, especially with the yellows and oranges that it goes in the fall with this tufted appearance. I see where they get the name lion's head.
Yeah, it's an awesome fall colored tree. I mean, it's a cool plant. It's one that a novelist might not associate with being a Japanese maple right out the gate, but it's one that if you're familiar with Japanese maples, you probably know. Always popular, and again, typically just referred to as lion's head, I think is the most common name for people. SHISHIGASHIRA being the correct name. You'll see a lot of garden centers just put lion's head on it, so that would be the same plant, but an excellent tree. And Tim mentioned the fall color for a second. I love that it's super consistent. The fall colors for this on me are incredibly consistent. Even in years with the fall color isn't great, it always lights up. And it's always popular for bonsai for that really, compact, dense trait to it.
And you can never have enough SHISHIGASHIRA in your garden. I mean, that's the thing we found out at our nursery. We try to keep 2 of every single variety, but we've got 2 of these at my mom and dad's garden alone. Then we've got 1 at where I used to live, Mineral House. We've got 1, maybe 2 at Hillstone Arboretum.
2, yeah.
So we've got 5 just in those gardens alone.
And 1 in my garden beside it.
Oh, so 6. Yeah. So we've got 6.
And 1 at the rental house.
Yeah, so we have 6. We've got 6 in the landscape and garden. And so that's just crazy for people that have over 1,000 cultivars. So it's one of our favorites. I know you're going to like this one a lot too. Super heat tolerant. We just had a customer call today from Columbia, South Carolina, said they'd bought a SHISHIGASHIRA from us. Yeah. Talking about how of a good grower it is. And down there in the heat and full sun in the south. and a really hardy tree. I mean, really one of those plants that's more bulletproof.
For sure. So next up we have Red Dawn, and this is another hybrid. It's a SHIRASAWANUM X palmatum. This has excellent dark red foliage. Red Dawn's going to be great for that kind of full moon style leaf to it. It's got that more rounded style leaf to it, and some excellent fall colors. I actually have a big one of these in my garden, and the fall colors are typically a really nice, almost picked up pink red. So an exquisite fall color on this as well.
We have a full video just on Red Dawn. Go check that video out.
You can see that tree in it.
You can see that tree in it, and you see where it gets that name of Red Dawn. It looks almost like a red sunset when it goes into that fall color. And it's one of the red full moon maple types. So here we've got a red SHIRASAWANUM and a red OLIVERIANUM.
Yeah.
Just really making you think outside the box from your typical blood goods and Emperor ones.
Yeah, it's a great plant. And it's great in that spring garden, but I really can't reiterate the fall color. That's why I've got a big one in my yard. The fall color just knocks me out every year. Consistent and just really nice. And it's a little bit different than most other Japanese maples in that color. It's almost like pink red.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we've got one of our selections from, what's the series from these?
Oh, this is the Pendulous Treasure series.
Pendulous Treasure series, yeah. And this is a weeping type that's from the lineage of Nakakomoto weeping, and it's just got a more divided leaf. So it's not quite a palmatum, it's not quite a lace leaf, and it's really got some really nice spring colors to it, and a really nice weeping habit.
Yeah, we named this one Fountain of Youth. We just like that as a name for it. It really is striking. I think it confuses people being that it's so heavily matsamuried. People think of it as like more of a lace leaf, but this one's shape is going to be much more like what you're used to with Ryusin. An excellent tree for that extremely pendulous growth. It'll get about as big as you stake it. You can stake up a central leader and just let it weep down from there. Alan Castile has one of these. I always use his photo because he has an excellent photo of these in a hanging basket, which is a fun way to grow it. But it's going to have a more similar style. Think of Ryusin or Dragon Master. It's in that kind of a series where it's about as weeping as you get it, as you stake it up. That growth is just going to want to come straight down.
I really like that hanging basket. It just sort of brings something else to your porch, your garden, out near your pool, like where Alan has it. It's one of those things that just adds an extra dynamic in the garden that people don't think of with Japanese maples and hanging baskets. And something that's kind of fun and something a little more different to just add that extra flair.
Yeah, it's a fiery orangey red in the fall too, so something really extra there. And we're just keeping in that Pendulous Treasure series. We have a whole series of trees that we either introduced or are, we're the first ones to offer in America. So check that out. That's a great way to find out more things. We'll be probably having Dragon Master here this spring. It's probably one of the most popular ones. You may have seen Looking Glass Falls and Fountain of Youth. Those are some of the stars from that series for sure.
So next up, we've got ACER Palmatum DESHOJO. And it may be better for Matt to hold it up, because this is about the color of my shirt right now.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests for DESHOJO. We often offer SHINDESHOJO, and everybody says we want the classic DESHOJO. Well, we've got it back for you. It was heavily requested, so we made sure to get these back into production. DESHOJO is super popular for the spring color, but also for the small leaf for bonsai. So these are a very popular tree for the bonsai garden, but they do equally as well in the garden.
Yeah, and as you can see, our trees aren't bonsai right now. We'll often throw up a bonsai photo to show you what you can do with this. This is one of the most popular trees to turn into that bonsai because of the red spring color, the amazing red fall color, and the smaller leaves. It does go to green-red during the summer. Out in the landscape, this makes a really nice tree that really just gives you some popping color in the spring and the fall. That's why we love maples, is that dynamic change throughout the season. And DESHOJO definitely does that.
Yeah, these are just starting to leaf out, so they'll actually get a lot fuller. A lot of these buds lower down hadn't even unfurled yet. So they'll get even a little thicker this year, but just an excellent tree. It makes a good sized tree in the landscape at like 12 foot even in 10 years, so it's gonna fill out nicely for you. But it's super popular for that bonsai setting, so that's typically who buys these out really quick, or the bonsai enthusiasts that want to air layer one or turn into more of a bonsai style setting. Now next up on the table, we've got what's always one of our most popular Japanese maples. I'll hand you one over here. Don't wait on these. They do sell out quickly. Apologize. We actually had a good amount of Mystic Makawas last week, and they
lasted like 8 minutes.
It was 8 minutes. I thought we've got these that are going to last at least several hours. We're working on those numbers. We keep increasing our numbers. We hear you. So if there's something we know is popular, we try to get almost 100 or more of it going each time. So these do go quickly. This again is the Japanese Princess though. One of the other most popular forms of that Makawa family. Japanese Princess is a nice pink. Now, sun and shade can change these a little bit in the early spring especially. They'll be a little greener in heavy shade, but if you're getting this one in sun, it's gonna be a really nice picked up pink right now. The ones in my yard are like neon pink.
Yeah, here in more shade, we get a little more of this bronze yellow kind of color, but it will give us more of that bright pink whenever you have it out there with a little more sunlight. We've heard some people thinking that the changing in colors could be getting confused with Mayday in the past. They're not. These can have variable color each season depending on the weather and your sunlight conditions. So always keep that in mind. One way you can easily tell Japanese princess from a lot of the other types is the leaf is so ruffled. I mean, the leaf
so
just
heavily
curls.
serrated, and it kind of cups a little bit too. I mean, it makes it a really unique. It's one of the most popular forms of that Macawa family for a reason. It's very unique and very different, and you can actually grow it different ways. Putting it in heavy shade, it's going to be more pink and blonde with just some unique color patterns to it. And if you get it in more sun, you're definitely going to wash that color out earlier, but you're going to get more intense neon pinks early. So it's a great candidate for container gardening because of that smaller size. One of the smallest Japanese maples that we do at 3 to 4 feet, even in 10 years. Very, very compact, but don't wait on these if you're a Japanese princess fan. Those do tend to go pretty quickly. Maybe not as quickly as the Mystics last week, but they're going to go quick.
Now, in super heat situations, make sure to give us some protection from the hot afternoon sun because it will be a pink, and those pinks can burn a little bit with more sun. But this is probably one of our favorite of those Macawa types, not only because of the color difference, but because the texture of the foliage with the twisting habit really makes it stand out from other selections.
Sounds good.
And then lastly, we've got ACER PALMATUM AMAGI SHIGURE. This is a nice, very nice purple. Can get you some pink purples to lavender purples on the colors. And we always joke and say those blue Japanese maples, they aren't real. These are real. They give you some unreal colors that'll just knock your socks off.
Yeah, it's a different color than Purple Ghost. It stands out to me uniquely different. It's like more of a lavender, and it just gets some lighter shades, really unique, almost a metallic-y look to it. But think of it almost as a more dwarf Purple Ghost. I mean, what you like about Purple Ghost in a smaller stature, definitely different shades, but it gives you everything in that and then a little bit smaller overall habit. So that makes it excellent for the container garden as well. If you want to put this in a container garden, some excellent sizes on these. Again, these sizes are indicative of, spring of 2022. So if you're watching this later, could be smaller or larger on each of these. So keep that in mind. But these Amagi Shigures are an excellent plant. It's a photographer's dream. We've been getting so much good photography. So if you've been enjoying that, give Brian a shout out in the comments below. We've been turning him loose with the camera. Brian's been getting us some of the best photos we've ever had on our website. So he's been getting some really good stuff there. So let him know if you're really enjoying that as well.
And so we try to put together a good, unique collection of Japanese maples every single Tuesday. So if you're starting out a garden on this Tuesday, it's a great time because there's so many cool plants you can put out there. I hope you enjoy the way we sort of try to pair different Shirasawanums with weeping types, with dwarfs. And, put some comments in the comment section about what you think about this collection. Yeah,
we try to curate each 10 at 10 with kind of things we like. We kind of pick a few dwarfs, a few lace leaves, a few of each little category, and try to make it interesting. And again, these are just 10. There's actually going to be 20 trees today listing. And as we get into these spring pushes, if there's something you're really set on, I do encourage you to be ready at 10 at 10. At 10 a.m. Eastern is the best time to be on there. You can check that out and get ready. And if there's something super rare, it may be better to go ahead and check out sometimes. But
yeah, remember, if you're waiting on it, someone else is probably waiting on it too. And it doesn't hold it for you when you just add it to your cart. It only holds it for you when you check out. A lot of people heard that with the 10 at 10 for Mystic Macawa, checked out real quick and got a hold of those Mystic Macawas, but they sell out quick.
There was a good number of those. I was shocked at how well they were received. We'll be doing it again, don't worry. So there's always, let us know what you like. We're going to do more of it. That's our goal, is to provide with you, the cool stuff. We're collectors too. So our whole business is basically run by finding the stuff that gets us fired up and excited and then providing it to you. And if it's something you love, don't worry, we want to make it available. We're always going to be working to get those things in stock and in larger numbers. So if it's something that y'all want, to the tune of 1,000 of, we're going to be producing 1,000 of it and continuing to increase that number so it's not so hard to get. That's kind of our goal here at MrMaple too.
If you like these conversations we have about maples, all the discussions we have about how-tos on Japanese maples, make sure you like this video and you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you're sharing this with your gardening friends. If you like it, they probably like it too.
Hey, God bless.
And have a great day.